Sickos Club.
Sickos Club.
Hey, come here. You like pro wrestling? We got a little something for you. Two fans, 3,000 miles away. We each been watching for more than 30 years. Celebrating the art form, the action, the homoeroticism. We ain't rating matches. We ain't analyzing stories. We ain't experts. We just sit down, shut up, and mark out! What's up, everybody? It's Blade Daily coming at you again with another episode, the 58th episode of Sit Down, Shut Up, Mark Out! And I'm a very happy boy, a very happy Blade. In fact, I'm going to be extra sharp tonight because I'm rejoined by my bestie. The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, the greatest Canadian pro wrestling podcaster in the history of pro wrestling podcasts, the one and only Joshi G. Joshi, welcome back to Sit Down, Shut Up, Mark Out, the show that you created with me. How are you, friendo?
Hey, thank you for the warm welcome, Blade. It's really great to be back. I missed you. I missed the podcast a lot. For those of you that thought I was going to be replaced and that I was gone, that's all I have to say to you. And no. That's not happening. And I'm doing pretty well. Definitely feeling better these days. How about you, friendo? I definitely missed you. It's nice to see your face.
Yeah, I know. I missed you too. I mean, we've been talking, on the phone, but I haven't seen you for a while. Antoine Raphael stepped up to the plate, did a fantastic job going through the happenings of the programs. Joshi J was kind enough to step in as well. But it's you and me, baby, at the end of the day.
Of course. A big thank you, though, to those two, Antoine Raphael and Joshi
Massive
J. Thank you. Thank you so much for filling in for me. I greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They were both fantastic. And they'll both be back, as anyone who listens to the show long enough will discover. They are homies that we love having on this show. But, Joshi, we're going to have to just jump right into it. We got so much to talk about. Oh, my God. So shall we?
Let's do this. Come on.
Gerald? All right, we got to start, Joshi. I think this Wednesday, another 4-hour weird combined dynamite collision thing. I don't know how often they're going to be doing this. I got an update from Fightful this morning that says they're experimenting with some shit. I do not want this to be the new normal at all. Okay, I want two 2-hour shows. I don't want a 4-hour show every week.
Blade, if I may, as someone on the East Coast, are they trying to kill me or what? I cannot do this.
Please do not do that.
No, every once in a while.
Every once in a while is cool.
It's hard to stay up until midnight during a freaking weekday when you have work the next day. Yeah. If you're trying to kill me, Tony, that's not very nice,
Yeah, so basically, Fightful basically said as AEW's become a bigger part of WBD, they're just experimenting. So I don't know what that means. I don't think they're going to go to a 4-hour block every week. Okay, I really don't think so. But I think they are experimenting for where Collision, what night would be best for Collision. I do think it's going to move from Saturdays at some point. That's just a gut feeling I have. It's not news. But that aside, this 4-hour block kicked off with possibly the greatest. I mean, it's in the top 10 greatest television matches I think I've ever seen, to go with Will Ospreay and Takeshita from earlier this year. Kenny Vikingo, Hangman, and Danielson won. This was one of the greatest television matches I've ever seen. Will Ospreay and Swerve to kind of just settle a little brotherly beef. AEW has set the gold standard of televised wrestling in the U.S. I don't think that's debatable. And the chemistry between these two is unreal. Their match last year that you got to see in person at Forbidden Door, the chemistry between these two guys is just fucking crazy. It was a 30-minute draw, And one thing I got to say, the announcers finally did a good job setting you up for the draw. It's weird because the actual in-ring announcements were usually there, like 1 minute remaining. But the announcers would like just kind of ignore it. Like they just would act like nothing's happening, like nothing's even weird. Or like we're not running right up against the deadline. This time I didn't hear a lot of ringside announcements, but the announcers were doing a good job. Like Rick Abani and Taz and Excalibur were doing a good job. So they were doing a good job prepping, they were kind of like, Swerve's got to do something here in the next 30 seconds, unfortunate placement of Ospreay on the outside. And then it goes to a draw, but they did it perfectly. The crowd, of course, boos like a motherfucker because they want that finish. Swerve babyfaced himself by asking for a restart. Ospreay's like almost completely knocked out on the floor, but nodding his head like, yeah, I want to go. And then the Bucks and the Death Riders take all the heat by coming out and interfering to make it impossible. The Bucks start double teaming Swerve. They handcuff him to the turnbuckles. They put his shoes on with the tacks on them, and they're about to super kick him, and Ospreay runs in and takes the kick for his friend. This, Joshi, was perfect storytelling. Really, really, really ace shit. Your thoughts?
How sweet was that?
My God.
Ospreay taking the fall for Swerve.
God.
Swerve really is Ospreay's bigger brother, and it's just too cute. And
it's so sweet. It's just so sweet.
It was such an emotional moment. Really great storytelling. I absolutely love the match. I did see Ospreay and Swerve last year at Forbidden Door. Aha! So I was really excited for the rematch because I love that match at Forbidden Door.
Me too.
And this match was absolutely amazing. They have such great chemistry. I do ask the crowd, though, to not boo when there's a draw. You just got an excellent 30-minute match. Don't boo. Like in Japan, this happens all the time, and we're just super appreciative that we got an excellent match. Joshi G looked at me and he's like, what the hell? Why is the freaking crowd booing? I'm like, I know, they do this all the time. So be grateful. We're really lucky. And excellent job on all sides, including the Bucks and Death Riders.
Well, I thought they did a great job just absorbing the heat. I love that the Bucks, since they've been back, are just like, yeah, give it all to us. Like they're just taking it. It's fantastic stuff. But quickly moving on from this.
Let's talk about this. So we got Queen Amanada versus Tekla, which I personally thought was an excellent match.
Fantastic.
It was, in my opinion, the best women's match on the show, period.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't like the discourse that I saw the following day. So, yes, this match was very hard-hitting. It was stiff, which I freaking love. I love when the women beat the crap out of each other. We get to see this a lot with the male wrestlers. So when we get to see it with the women, it just feels like they're getting the same kind of opportunity. So for me, it's always a treat. And if you watch Stardom, if you watch All Japan Women's Wrestling, the women wrestle that kind of style. So to me, this isn't unusual or unprofessional or anything like that. The discourse was really upsetting because basically there were fans saying that Queen Amanada was way too stiff. She was unprofessional. She wanted to outshine Tekla. She wasn't selling any of her moves. And I read all of that. And, considering the match came on at 11:30 my time, I was half asleep, but I was watching it and I didn't see any issues at all. I also saw comments saying that Queen Amanada stormed out of the ring after the match. And I thought, okay, was I just too tired or something? Did I miss something? So the following day, I rewatched it. And that whole discourse is absolute bullshit. First off, it never looked like Amanada was deliberately trying to injure Tekla. And she didn't storm out of the ring. She left and very quietly, actually, with the referee. Nothing unusual. So my question is, why is it that when certain women wrestle that kind of style, very hard hitting, stiff, they're considered rude and unprofessional and too aggressive? We've seen this with Athena as well, which upset me because we have seen this with other women in AEW. Jamie Hayter is hard hitting. She's stiff. Sheeta has been hard hitting and stiff. So why is it that Athena and Queen Amanada, they get all this backlash? I mean, what do they have in common, right? I don't want to get into that too much, but I don't know. It is kind of weird that it always comes down to certain type of woman. And for me, I don't think anything about the way they wrestled was unusual. Tekla was not taking it easy on Queen Amanada either. She was responding with freaking hard shots, and they seemed to be loving it, actually. It didn't seem to me like anybody was upset. And yes, obviously, Tekla held on to the submission for longer than she should have, but she did the exact same thing with Lady Frost. She's a heel, right? So in my opinion, let women wrestle however the heck they want. If the women are fine with it, we have no reason to judge. And I'm sorry, I don't want to see women wrestle like delicate butterflies. This is wrestling. I want to see them beat the crap out of each other. Last thing I'll say is Tekla is freaking awesome. What an innovative wrestler. She conducts herself like a star. She has the best facial expressions. I loved her little wink to the camera. She knows where the camera is. I'm just in love with this woman. I'll be honest. So iBlade, give me your thoughts. Let's go.
A lot to unpack there. Oh my God. I agree with you 100% on everything. First of all, awesome match. I was really annoyed at where this was placed. I thought this should have been in the first 2 hours of the show. I don't know why you have someone as dynamic as Tekla, especially she's brand new, putting her 3.5 hours in. Ridiculous. We're going to get to that. The match itself, brutal, hard hitting. Aminata does wrestle a very physical style. Okay. And that's not a problem. If you watch, just as you said, like if you watch Stardom, if you watch Marigold, if you watch Tokyo Joshi Pro, back in the day, if you watch like Ice Ribbon and all that stuff, that's what hard hitting Joshi style is. Both these women have histories in Japan. Okay. They've both done, Tekla more than Aminata, but Aminata has done tours of Japan. Okay. She's a very physical wrestler, and there's nothing wrong with that. These aren't dainty, delicate women, and I think the American audience just needs to be conditioned to that. Also, I think Tekla was trying to be generous in this match and give Aminata the majority of the offense because she beat her clean. So really, psychologically, it made sense. Like, sure, Tekla emerged victorious, but Aminata looked like she could have beat her. That's just wrestling 101 shit, right? And so, Joshi, I couldn't agree more. Tekla's a fucking star. She's got everything. She's got everything right out of the gate. You and I have been singing her praises for months. When the spider teases started, we were both fucking messaging each other like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. She's been even better than I imagined she would be. Like, this woman looks so fucking ready. Okay? Like, bye-bye, Mariah May. We got Tekla. We're good. And Mariah, I love you. There's no diss there. But, like, seriously, Tekla's ready to be a major star. I can't wait till her first interview. I can't wait for people to hear the level of shit talk this woman can do. She is a fucking star. So you're right, though. There is this weird disparity, fucking Swerve and Ospreay. I rewatched the match. I actually don't think it was on a hit that Swerve gave to Ospreay. He starts bleeding before Swerve even hit him with a forearm. It's just on some basic transitional chain wrestling shit. Ospreay started bleeding. Was that too stiff? Like, no.
Right.
Shit just happens. Like, fucking grow up. There were a few spots where I thought they were like not super smooth, and that's okay too. That looks real. Like, have you seen a real fight? It's not smooth. Okay. It doesn't look like pro wrestling. All right. So I just attributed it to that, but it was one of my favorite matches in the entire night. Outside of Swerve and Ospreay, it might have been my favorite match. So agreed on all counts, Frenda. We can't, look at these women like they're dainty, innocent little things. Okay. Like, knock that bullshit off, you guys. And also, don't smear Aminata in the process.
Yeah.
Like, what a load of shit. If it comes out that there's an actual issue, that's when we should be having these conversations, not before. Stop inventing bullshit.
If you want to look sexy as fuck, go to sickosclub.com/merch and get you some.
Okay. Joshi.
Yes. Hello.
Our friend Swerve. And we can call him our friend now because
Our best friend.
This week, Swerve shared a video from Sickos Club in his stories. So we're good friends with Swerve now. We've always been Swerve positive, but now we are Swerve effusive.
Whose house?
Swerve's house. Sickos Club house.
Yeah.
That Sickos house. After the show, Swerve shared an image of Ospreay, himself, and Hangman, and just said Trinity on it. I don't think you can really put it any better, Joshi. What is going on right now in AEW with Hangman, Swerve, and Ospreay feels extremely special to me. I never want to hear about the Pillars again. Okay? Like, MJF made it to the main event. Jack and Darby might still. But AEW is just in a different era now. Okay? It's moved beyond that. And I think Darby and MJF and Jack Perry would agree. And Sammy would agree. Okay? I love that they are telling this story that Hangman, Swerve, and Ospreay need to unite so that they can unite the rest of AEW as a way to defeat the Death Riders. How are you feeling about it right now?
I'm feeling really good about it, my friend. I was thinking about this before we started recording, and you know what? Can you guess which last title reign, like heavyweight title reign, I enjoyed a lot?
Was it Swerve?
Yes, but it wasn't long enough. So take another guess. No.
Was it Hangman? Was it MJF?
Not even. No.
Was it? Well, I'm getting this entire thing wrong. Samoa Joe.
By God, Kenny Omega. And I'll tell you why. It was a long, it was a long title reign, but it didn't feel too long. It was the perfect length. Mm-hmm. Kenny Omega did so much. It was so memorable. When I think back to 2021, honestly, I think about Hangman and Kenny the most. Mm-hmm. There was that amazing story between Kenny and Hangman. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's been missing from the World Heavyweight title picture for a really long time. And I was hoping that once Hangman became champion, we would have gotten something really similar. We didn't. So to me, Hangman being in the title picture again is just so poetic because he deserves a long title reign. He really does. And obviously I enjoyed Swerves. It's just that it wasn't long enough. I want a really significant title reign. And I feel Hangman is in the position right now to give us that. And like, even if he's champion for a year, I don't care. I just want something extremely significant and poetic again, because whenever I think about Kenny's, it's just so many thoughts run through my mind. Everything that he did for different companies, all the excellent matches that he had, his amazing stories. He was a terrific heel as well. Loved his pairing with Don Callis. And I'm just like, I want that again so badly. And we haven't gotten that in so long. Mm-hmm. And just to see, and the ending, the end to his title reign was so perfectly done with Hangman beating him. but the payoff, unfortunately, wasn't what it should have been. So to me, it's like, finally, you're going to reward Hangman Adam Page and put him in a better position, the position we wanted him to be in. So I'm freaking happy about this. Listen, I would have been happy with Ospreay as well, but it's just that I've been pretty bitter about Hangman's treatment over the past few years.
Same.
So this is justice to me.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Oh boy, I have a theory, okay? And I don't think they did this intentionally. But we always talk about Hangman's the main character of AEW, right? Like, everybody says that. Even Swerve says that. Like, everybody says that, okay? MJF said it. Like, the people you think would object to it are the ones saying it, right? Here's my theory. Hangman's redemption arc is exactly a parable of AEW itself, okay? Hangman was led astray. He lost the title to CM Punk and his life kind of went to shit, okay? And Swerve called him out and said, you've lost your way, just as the fans were calling AEW out and saying, you're losing your way. Like, what the fuck, right? And Hangman rising up, fighting Swerve, you know, having the greatest, and you know, it's funny you bring up Kenny and Hangman because that was the greatest story in AEW history, but I personally feel the greatest feud in AEW history now is Swerve and Hangman.
100%.
It's surpassed Kenny and Hangman, and that was one of my favorite all-time stories, okay? But Hangman and Swerve have sharpened each other into something new, something better, and something different. Hangman has an edge again. Hangman's on point again. Hangman's fitter than he's been in a long time. Hangman looks ready to take the crown again. And so does AEW. So why the fuck would anybody but Hangman Page be the one? When Ospreay said to Swerve last week, I thought it was you, you thought it was you, and I thought it was me, but it's not. It's him. That's AEW. That's what he's talking about. I don't know that AEW actually is writing it like with this in mind, but the Death Riders could be symbolic of so many things. The internet trolls, the fucking CM Punk himself. You know, the people who are like, this place needs to change. Fuck you guys. This sucks. I hate AEW, right? I mean, Moxley has literally said all of that.
He has.
AEW has had to unify in order to bring itself back to what it was or what it could be in the promise of what AEW, what we wanted it to be. And somehow the fans here are flocking back to AEW in real time, literally as the story continues to play out. And Joshi, that brings another thing to mind. This Death Rider story actually ended up being pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Now that we're building to the crescendo, I'm not going to pretend it was a perfect story. Okay. The pacing left a lot to be desired. But we're getting there. And now that we are building, it's starting to feel like the whole thing is swirling and building to the crescendo at All In. Feels pretty special, doesn't it?
Very well said, I believe. I completely agree with you. It does feel like we're getting the AEW that we wanted back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in 2022, Hangman didn't want AEW to become something different. He wanted to save AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And for a while, AEW went into a completely different direction. And now here he is again trying to save AEW. And this time he's actually going to freaking do it.
Yes. All Tony Khan has to do, this, I said this in our Discord, all Tony Khan has to do is stick the landing now. Okay? That's it.
That's it.
The story is fucking there, okay? It's heavily rumored that Swerve and Ospreay are facing the Bucks at All In, okay? That's an awesome match. I'm very much looking forward to that. You got Hangman and Mox, okay? I think the ops will be tied in with the trio side of it. You got some variables out there. You've got Gabe Kidd still. You've got Willow. You've got Marina. But you've got an opportunity to make a bunch of stars here. And it's fucking awesome to see. But getting back to the Trinity thing, 2 points. Will Ospreay is the little bro of Hangman and Swerve.
Mm-hmm.
How great is this guy?
I know.
I mean, he's the greatest, on a just purely technical level. I think Will Ospreay is the greatest wrestler in the world right now. But how great a character has this man become? He's the best. I love this guy.
I love him too. I wish he was my little brother.
I mean, seriously, he's like everybody's little brother that you
know.
Oh my God, he gets who he is so well. Like when he was screaming at Swerve, like, same team, after they got in that. I love him. He's played his part so well. Who could have imagined he would be this good? But folks, the last point I want to make about this, because we have so much to get to, we are witnessing something special here. During the Attitude Era, you had, for the first time ever, what felt like two equivalent top baby faces, where you had Stone Cold and The Rock, who 1A and 1B, and they could be interchangeable at any given point, but you put either one of them in the main event of any show, it's a sellout, right? AEW's not at that point attendance-wise, so let's not even get into that conversation, but Ospreay, Swerve, and Hangman feels like the same thing. You don't have three top baby faces at the same time very often. It feels like we're moving into a passing the torch period in AEW, where guys like Moxley and guys like Kenny are going to cede the main event to this next generation of people, to the MJFs and the Jay Whites and the hangers and swerves. And it feels like we're really getting to that point where we're moving into the next 5 to 7 years of AEW. It kind of hurts me to say that about my boy Kenny and Okada. And we have a lot to say about Kenny and Okada, don't we? But this really does feel like a torch passing moment where Jon Moxley's time on top might be coming to an end. Not because he doesn't deserve it, but because it's just time. And I think he knows it too. It feels like he really does, and like he's being earnest, and he really wants to build up this next generation. So all that said, we are witnessing something truly, truly special. Now, Gerald, I need you to come up with something good for this transition, because we are about to get into some real shit when we come back.
All right. So let's talk about Okada and Omega.
Yeah.
So it looked like Okada wasn't a big fan of Don Callis for the past few weeks, and that they wouldn't collaborate. That was the impression that they gave us anyway. Mm-hmm. And then Okada and Kenny had their contract signing. Mm-hmm. And who comes out? Don Callis. So as soon as he came out, I said, oh my God, Don Callis is going to help Okada, right? They've been working together this entire time. It's like, why is Don there, right? So of course, Precious Kenny, he's telling Don that he knows all of his tricks and there's no trick that could fool him. And then bam, Okada beats up our little Kenny Omega. And Don had also, yes.
It was put together very well, though.
It was put together very well.
Because I will be honest, I'm such a mark for all these people. I'm a mark for Kenny. I'm a mark for Okada. I'm a mark for Callis as a character. And I did not see the Okada turn coming until Kenny said, I know all your tricks.
So Don responds saying, well, I bet you didn't see this one coming. And that's when Okada beats up Kenny Omega.
Hits him with the Continental title. Yeah.
Yes. Don Callis goes to the ring. They're beating on him. They're hitting him in the gut, which is very sad because we know what Kenny has been through lately with his poor intestines. Yes, so the paramedics they come to get Kenny. They take him on the stretcher to the ring. Christopher Daniels is in the ring, basically telling Okada to stop. Okada pushes poor Christopher Daniels down. He shoves him. And then Okada jumps from the apron and lands an elbow directly onto Kenny's stomach. Again, yep. And then Kenny's guts explode, and we get a huge amount of blood coming out of his mouth, and it looked like it came straight out of a horror movie. So that was pretty disgusting. But I get why they did it.
I saw a lot of people were genuinely like really disgusted by it and grossed out by it.
It was really gross.
See, for me, I was like almost kind of laughing, but like because I know that these two were just living for this angle, like Kenny Omega played it up like so over the top that one, it came across just slightly like fake enough to where you knew it wasn't real. Yeah. But also like, I know Kenny's sense of humor. Like he's just like, like, you know, he loved doing that. And for Okada probably thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was over the top, but it's fine. I did like it.
It really grossed some people out.
Yes. Yeah. And for sure, this is very different from their rivalry in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but they are feuding in the United States, completely different crowd. You need, you need more storytelling in the US to get a story over. So for those of you that are disappointed that it's not resembling the rivalry in New Japan, well, they're not in New Japan right now, so it makes sense. My only thing is that I hope that there won't be too many shenanigans at All In during their match. Hopefully not. That's the only thing that I don't want to happen. I don't want too much of the Don Callis intervention. Interference rather. So that's my only thing. And the last thing I wanted to say is that I know Kenny was advertised for CMLL next week. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's going to wrestle because they do have to sell this injury. Mm-hmm. And I know I did see some fans that were really disappointed. So I do feel for them because it did seem like he was going to wrestle there. And now it's not looking likely. So I do feel bad because he was literally on the graphic for the show. And now I don't know. I mean, I doubt they're going to add him last minute. So yeah, I do think that sucks.
I do too. And I feel for anyone disappointed. I'm sorry for you guys. I really like this angle. I will say I do get it for those who are disappointed. Kenny and Okada has always been kind of a sporting rivalry where it's just about who's the better wrestler. What I thought they did a good job of, and Kenny particularly did a really good job of, is he looked like he was going to continue that, the kind of the sporting rivalry. You know, one last time, let's do this. You know, I love that he said, I saw that video clip and I barely even recognized myself because Kenny's admitting, like, I'm not that guy anymore, you know? And we all know he's not because how could he be? It was 7 years ago. As far as the angle itself, look, they can post all the YouTube matches and all the clips of their rivalry that they want. But the truth is most people aren't going to watch it. And they need to tell a story right now that people can get invested in. And they have about 4 weeks. So I felt like this was an excellent way to do that. I really hope Tony Khan is smart enough not to throw a bunch of shenanigans in the match itself. I don't think I'm thinking he won't. I think this needs to close the loop on Kenny and Don Callis for good. The other reason I was kind of surprised by Okada was he's in the Elite. And it feels like they've kind of done a slow dissolving of the Elite. The Bucks have just stuck to the Bucks. And Okada's just been a guy. And that's kind of the last thing I wanted to say on this real quick is just Okada finally has a little more of an edge to his character where he's a legit heel. He's not a cool heel. He's a dick. He's a real piece of shit. Mm-hmm. and he needed this. And he did a fucking ace job in this segment. He was great. So and I rewatched the segment, and even while Kenny's like telling Don Callis off, Okada's nodding his head like he's a babyface still, like behind Kenny. And I'm like, wow, they're going to turn Okada like halfway babyface. Nope. Big swerve.
Nope.
So well done. All parties. Now, the other part we didn't talk about, Joshi, is they did confirm that the winner of this match between the Continental Champion and the International Champion will be recognized as the unified champion and carry a new belt that they unveiled, which I think you know by now I'm a belt mark. Okay. I love belts. All right. They unveiled a new belt, and I love the belt. The belt itself kind of looks like kind of a mix between the original women's championship, like the small but bigger, right? And it looks very deeply influenced by the IWGP heavyweight title before it became the weird alien spaceship ass looking belt that it is now. It looks like the old IWGP title, the greatest, most beautiful title in the history of wrestling that they got rid of for absolutely no reason, you fucking idiots. The side plates are awesome on this belt because on one side you've got Okada doing a Rainmaker, and on the other side you've got Kenny Omega doing a one-winged angel. Awesome touch. Just really, really awesome touch. This is a gorgeous belt, in my opinion. I saw a wide degree of takes. Most people seem to like the belt.
It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful belt. And man, it really shines on TV too.
I love it.
However, I did see a lot of people say they didn't like the name of the belt because it's called the unified title.
Oh, well.
Professor Degree, friend of the show, brought up a great point. What's it like, it's a weird name because it's kind of vague. Like, what's it unifying? Like, are you the unified international champion? Some people were disappointed that it didn't become the Intercontinental title. It's come out that WWE actually has that trademarked now. That's probably actually why New Japan had to get rid of their Intercontinental title. I didn't want them to call it the Intercontinental title simply because it just conjures WWE. And also WWE's devalued the Intercontinental title so much. Like, I don't want this belt being compared to that belt. The word coming out of Fightful is that this is almost going to be a second world title. It's going to be treated at that level. And so I can't think of anybody better to unify these titles than Okada and Omega, the greatest wrestlers of the last 25 years. So unified, not the greatest name, but it's like a band name. Lots of band names suck, but after a while, if the band's good, you don't care. And I don't think anybody's going to care in 3 months. This belt is gorgeous. I love it. I'm excited. Joshi, thoughts?
I think it's a really gorgeous belt, and I think unifying the international and the continental belts is a good idea. AEW does have a lot of belts right now, so it makes sense. And if they're going to treat it like another, like a second heavyweight title, like let's say second tier, why not? I'm up for it. I think it makes a lot of sense. We'll now have a better idea of the different placement of the belts, like exactly what they mean. So now we know for sure TNT is third. Mm-hmm. So I like that. This gives us a better understanding of the placement of them. And also, I mean, they could always change the name of the belt. Right now it's unified. They can always change it down the line. I definitely didn't want them to use Intercontinental. That just reminds me a lot of WWE at this point. And it's always better to come up with your own name and try to have your own identity. So I'm totally fine with that. And for sure, Okada and Omega fighting for it makes it feel like a huge deal. And I also did read that they will continue to have the Continental Classic. So for anybody that was worried that we wouldn't get that anymore, it's not going anywhere. So very good news. So really, I just think that as much as I love Okada, it didn't seem like he got to defend his title that often. And the international title did seem like a bigger deal. So it just makes sense. It makes sense. They needed to get rid of a title, right? I mean, get rid of, well, they're unifying them, but you know what I mean? They couldn't continue to have two belts where one wasn't really being defended much anyway.
So one thing, if you're concerned about interference, one stipulation of the Continental title is there can be no interference. That might mitigate the Don Callis factor. You know, he's probably going to be on commentary during the match. He might be at ringside towards the end of the match, but I don't think he'll play into the finish. I think Kenny has to win this match. I don't think Okada can win now. And you know what? I'm good with it. I'm totally fine with that. I know there's some people out there that really want Okada to win. That's natural. This is wrestling. They've made you care. That's all. You know, that's all. And so, Joshi, we have a main event topic that we're going to discuss on this show. Gerald, you hit that goddamn music and do it for the ladies, because when we come back, that's who we're doing it for.
All right, ladies, so this is for you. And I know most of you agree. And for anyone that's trying to shut you down, ignore them. We have a right to feel the way we feel. So this is for all the women that want more in professional wrestling in the United States, and for our male allies. So let's talk about AEW's women's division for a while. The last 2 weeks, we had 4-hour combined Dynamite and Collision shows. I will start by saying that last week was a complete disappointment for me. I was furious, okay? So having one women's match on the first 2 hours, and then you had to literally wait. I think it was like an hour and a half. It was 11:30 for Tekla versus Lady Frost, which, let's be honest, was a squash match, was infuriating for me. I couldn't even get into the third hour because I was so fed up of seeing man after man after man and no woman, no segments, nothing. Last week was bullshit. I'm calling it out. And unfortunately, I didn't get to post about it on social media, but you and Antoine and Joshi G did a great job covering that. And I share all of your sentiments. Joshi G was on a happy camper. So let's look at this week. All right. So, yes, there was an improvement. I will give AEW that, but they're not out of the water yet. So the first hour of the show, okay, you got Toni Storm, right? It was like the first minute of the show where she was there for like a second, where Luther is carrying her in the back.
It was like 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh,
my God. Amazing. I got so much Toni Storm. No. Okay. After that, no segments, no woman at all until the 9:30 time slot where we get a women's tag match. So again, where were the women's segments? What the hell? Why did I have to wait so long to get a freaking women's match? Okay. So we get this tag match. And one thing that actually really bothered me last week was that when Ty Mello came back, we didn't get to see her hug Anna Jay. We didn't get to see them reunite, nothing. And I was hoping that on Dynamite, we get like a cute little backstage segment where they're so happy to see each other, hug, hug, hug. Nope. So we just get that match. Okay, fine. It was a good match. I'll give them that. Ty Mello looked incredible. And it was really nice to see her wrestle again. The fans were very, very happy to see her. She's still over. So yes, absolutely happy that Ty is back. Then I believe it was at 10:30, right? We get Toni Storm versus Julia Hart. Mercedes Moné on commentary. So Mercedes is eating food again. She's eating her
she's
steak.
got a whole platter.
But now she has, she's got like potato salad. I don't know what the heck she was eating. She has her glass of wine. Mercedes is hilarious.
Yeah.
And then in the ring, we get this match. Julia Hart, not the best match of hers, I will say.
Yes.
A little bit on the sloppy side, but whatever. Okay, I'll be happy with a woman's match.
She just had a bad night.
She just had a bad night. It happens, right?
Mhm.
So, okay, we get this match, not bad.
Yeah.
Then
8 minutes,
then
maybe.
8 minutes, Then after that, we surprisingly get an intergender match, which I didn't even know was on the show. So it was Willow, Ishii, and Mark Briscoe versus Taya Valkyrie and MXM Collection. So I thought it was cool that, the woman got to wrestle and in this intergender match, and Willow got her hands on some of the guys. And I actually laughed so hard when Taya gets in the ring and she's just like confronting Ishii, and he just has no expression on his face. And then she chops him and he's like, okay. And he just tags Willow in. That made me laugh so hard. I love Ishii so
great.
freaking much.
It was great.
Yes.
It was
he's just
fantastic.
He's just like, whatever.
Yeah,
He's not phased at all. And so I love that Willow is being used in these intergender matches a lot because she is just such a great fit. It wasn't a very long match. We did get a Chris Statlander backstage segment that I liked a lot, where she's talking loved it. It was really well done, where she's saying, what do you want to talk about? Willow, like Willow's done with me, so I guess I'm done with her. Why don't we focus on me now? There's only one of me, and I need to be doing more. And she's absolutely right. The way Chris Statlander has been booked is a freaking tragedy for me. This woman is excellent on every level. You had her put on 2 amazing matches against Mercedes Moné, and nothing came out of that. I mean, what the hell is wrong with you? You have to push her. She's excellent. And then you had her interact with Wheeler Yuta, and he's trying to give her advice and trying to lure her into the Death Riders. And then you have great. This that was great.
That whole thing was awesome.
Yeah. It was awesome. And then you had Chris Statlander and Marina stare at each other for a little bit. So potential feud between those two.
Or team
coming. I don't think Chris should turn heel again. I do think that she should remain a babyface for now.
It's a tease.
But we'll see. It's a tease. I don't think she's joining the Death Riders. So anyway, okay, fine. So that was good. Right before the Tekla Queen Amanada match, we had Mercedes Moné backstage being interviewed, and she's challenging for the CMLL Women's belt next week against Zeuxis. And so Zeuxis, she shows up and she freaking says, challenge accepted, bitch. And she knocks Mercedes out. And I don't know what happened from last year to this year, but this chick has bulked up, or is it just me? I was like, what the?
She bulked up a little bit. Two things. She's bulked up a little bit, and you learned how to pronounce her name. Like that,
Yes, thank you. It was Persephone that I had a lot of issues pronouncing, but yes.
Well, there was a whole bit on the show where we were trying to say Zeuxis' name, and neither one of us could get it right. But you nailed it right out of the gate. I
finally did it. And then we got the Tekla Amanada match, which I discussed before. So, of course, some of you are wondering, what are you complaining about? What's the problem? I'll tell you what the problem is. When did these other matches take place? The last 90 minutes of the freaking show. That is my problem.
Of a 4-hour show.
In the first 2 hours, why didn't we get any women's segments? Why didn't we get another women's match? I don't understand. And the thing that people don't get, it's like, oh, well, just be happy though. It's like an improvement from last week. Yes, of course it's an improvement, but keep in mind, okay? For me, that I am on the East Coast and other people on the East as well, a 4-hour show during a weekday, after 2 hours, you're probably not going to stay up and watch it. You're going to go to bed. And if you don't believe me, look at the ratings for the last 2 weeks. They dropped significantly after the first 2 hours. So why would you not showcase the woman in the first 2 hours? That's what I find infuriating. To me, that's kind of saying, oh, well, we have to keep the woman in the last 90 minutes because we don't really think they're going to draw much in the first 2 hours. That's how I interpret that. And to me, that's really hurtful because I think the women have done an amazing job showing that they are draws and that they can tell amazing stories. So this is my problem with it. What the hell was this structuring this placement of the women's matches? Why did they decide last 90 minutes and they put freaking Tekla versus Amanada on that freaking 11:30 spot again? Like, what are you doing? Like, Tekla is new to the company. She's special. And a lot of people aren't getting to watch her live because you keep putting her on a freaking crappy time slot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting old. Okay. It looked like things were improving for a while. It just feels to me like we're still stuck in this freaking mindset that there can only be one women's match on Dynamite. And I am so tired of that. You even look at next week's CMLL AEW show. They've only announced one women's match. Why? It's a 2.5 hour show. And to be frank with you, iBlade, considering that they've announced 6 matches, I don't think they're going to add another women's match. I just don't. Where is it going to fit in?
Well said.
Sorry, I need to breathe a little bit.
Absolutely. No, please, please. No, please. Well said on all accounts. I completely agree with you. You covered a lot of the same territory that I would have. What I would say is I posted about this on Blue Sky. I had 2 dudes. The only people who were contrary, by the way, in any way were dudes. Okay. So I had 2 dudes tell me, well, Toni Storm was on the show in the first minute of the show. She was on the screen for 4 seconds. Don't fucking say stupid shit like that, guys. Okay? Don't patronize people. I have a different angle to look at here. I'm 45 years old. What dude my age with disposable income hasn't already seen pro wrestling at some point in their life? Almost no one, right? Everybody had a friend who liked pro wrestling. I was the friend that they all had. Every dude has seen pro wrestling at this point. Where is the real market to expand? Women. You know who is actually really smart to recognize that? And I hate to give him any credit at all. Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
With Total Bellas, with Total Divas, with all that stuff. Okay. That brought a female fan base in that had never been involved before. So while these dudes were going, they had 3 women's matches. What are you complaining about, bro? I had other women liking, sharing, resharing, agreeing. Okay. Women want to see women wrestle. AEW is fucking up a prime opportunity that they have right now, which is you just lost your world champion. Like your last world champion is in NXT. Okay. And they have completely fucked up her entire rollout. Okay. You could have shown the strength of how AEW's women's division contrasts WWE's this week and last week. But instead, you fucking act like a scared little bitch, Tony Khan. And yeah, I said it. You're acting like a scared, frightened little bitch who's afraid that women will fucking kill your ratings for some reason, which is a complete crock of shit. Okay? Putting Tekla in the secondary death spot 2 weeks in a row? Give me a fucking break, man. Come on, Tony. Like, WWE's just about to do their second Evolution show, and you're going to give them a layup to, like, for some reason, like, while they're being sued by Janelle Grant, you're going to let them say that they treat their women more seriously than AEW with this roster that you have? There's no excuses. Okay? The thing is, these people saying, well, you got 3 matches. You know what? That logic might have actually worked had AEW not been improving in this area so much the last year or 2. Okay. Like, it feels like we're going backwards a little bit and we can't afford that. There is too much great talent on this show. So yes, strongly worded criticism. Yes. I love AEW enough to criticize it. Okay. It's not something like this isn't going to create some narrative that's going to crush the company. You fucking dorks on social media who pearl clutch and act like I'm being too hard on them. Fuck off. Grow up. Like, if you want to expand AEW's business, adding women is how you do it. Okay? Top to bottom. But I'm not just coming here to criticize. We have ideas how we can improve this situation immediately. And the first one is something I do feel they're building towards, which is a women's tag division. I think they need to announce the belts in a tournament to award them pronto. Joshi, how do you feel about that?
I think it's time. They need to feature as many women as possible on AEW television. There are women that are signed that aren't on television. Like Nyla Rose, for example.
Yep.
Where is she? We like her. She makes us laugh. She's awesome. Yuka Sakasaki. Where is she? She's adorable. She's a great wrestler. Bring her back. You know, I mean, this would be a good opportunity to feature more of the signed talent. And we know that Alex Windsor is signed to AEW. You got to find something for her to do. You can't just sign women and not have something for them. You need to figure things out. And you're absolutely right, iBlade. WWE has their second Evolution show coming up. And I thought AEW would do a much better job showcasing their talent, building up another women's match for All In that hasn't happened yet. I don't know what is going on. So, yes, give us a tag team division, a women's tag team division. Be serious about it, though. I mean, if you do decide to do that, I want a second or even a third women's match every freaking week.
100%.
Even Collision lately, I've only been seeing one women's match. I don't like this. You got to be consistent.
Well, and this is why it's so important for people to stand up and say, no, unacceptable. We're not going to stand for the backsliding. Okay. You don't get to just trounce this women's division. I don't want them to sign more women right now. I want them to use the people they have because they have a fantastic division all the way around. Now, I do want to say, I don't think Tony Khan hates women's wrestling. Okay. Like the people who might say that I think are going a little too far. If you look at Ring of Honor, he's actually trying to have parity in Ring of Honor with the titles there. If anything, Ring of Honor has too many titles, but that's a different conversation altogether. Okay. But women do have a television title. There's a tournament going on for the pure title, and they have a heavyweight title. So in that sense, I think Tony is trying to do the right things. I think that's what he genuinely wants to do in the end, but I'm tired of the waiting. No more waiting. We're done waiting. So I think a tag division would be a huge help. You brought up Julia Hart not looking so great in that match with Tony. Put her in a tag team with Sky Blue. Have them tell a story and develop their characters together, right? Beyond just the like awesome entrance, Julia Hart, who is she, right? You can tell that story with Sky Blue in a tag team and get them on television immediately. Yeah. I think the next thing they got to do is they got to split up Tony and Mercedes immediately after All In and spread out their star power. There's two problems that I have with it. One is the reason I thought that Mercedes wouldn't win the Owen is because you wouldn't want to have the two people that Tony clearly sees as bankable stars, Tony Storm and Mercedes, feuding with each other at All In because you'd want them each to have a marquee match. And I thought you could put Jamie Hayter on Tony's level and you could put like Athena on Mercedes' level, you know, but they went a different direction. Fine, whatever. But if those are the two that you feel are bankable and that you feel are going to draw good ratings or whatever the case may be, no matter what, you got to split them up immediately after this match. Okay. You can't do it before because, you know, you got to build to the match. But, you know, I think there might have been some downsides to putting them together, to be honest with you. And we'll see how it plays out. I think, you know, I'm not saying they shouldn't be doing this match, but I want to know what else is going on for the women at All In. And I think they need to announce that as quickly as possible. Like, hey, there's going to be a lot more women wrestling at All In. I want to know what that is. So I think maybe making that clear. Also, I think you need to free up the TBS title. Mercedes is just way bigger than that belt, and everyone knows it. She's made it feel as important as it can feel. She belongs in the world title picture. She did on day one, but now it's just, come on. Giving women with less star power currently a mid-card title to go after would go a long way, I think. AEW has just on a talent level, they have top graded all the way around. You got Ty Mello back. You got Penelope Ford back. You've got Willow. You've got Statlander. You've got Jamie Hayter. You've got Mercedes Tony. You've got Red Velvet, Athena. You've got Deonna Purrazzo. You've got all these people that are so top of the list talented. Mina Shirakawa, undeniable star power. You need to use them. There's no excuse, okay? Tony, you built a great division. You're fucking up. You're fucking up in the way you're booking it, and I'm not going to soft shoe it for you. I'm not a cheerleader, okay? I am not going to cheerlead everything AEW does because I want them to be better. They've gotten better this year because we were criticizing it last year. Come on, guys. That's how this works. We don't owe Tony we're not here to massage his balls, okay? We are here to help the company be better. And he knows that. He knows that. All right, Joshi, thoughts?
I'm in complete agreement with you. Very well said. And thank you for being an ally, iBlade, because we do need as much support as possible to get this point across. And it's a very important one for us. And you've made some excellent points when it comes to the TBS title. Mercedes is too big for that belt.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I thought Jamie was going to win the Owen because to me, it didn't really make sense to have all the attention on Mercedes and Tony and not have it spread out, considering they're the two biggest female stars in the company. Right. So it's not that I have a problem with them doing that. It's just that after this match happens at All In, you absolutely need to separate them. You can't have them facing each other anymore. And you need to get them to elevate other wrestlers. I mean, you look at Toni Storm. She did that with Mariah May. Why can't she do that with anybody else? And I mean, and Mariah May wasn't even signed for that long. So come on, you could figure this out. You did this before. You can do this again. And I also think that it's unfortunate that we don't know of any other matches that are going to happen at All In. I think now would be the time to announce the women's tag team tournament and have it start at All In. Why not? But you got to start building to something. You know, I mean, you mentioned Julia Hart and Sky Blue. And yes, like Julia Hart is hit or miss in the ring, but Sky Blue is an excellent wrestler. You don't put Julia in singles matches. You put her with Sky, so that way Sky is the one that does most of the wrestling. You know, like that's what you would expect. You want the better wrestler to cover up for their tag team partner, right? So, I mean, I just think that there is so much that can be done. And, you know, and like just other examples, Athena, why isn't she on AEW television? I don't freaking know. I am so sick of her being in ROH and being the ROH Women's Champion. Let's move on, please. You mentioned Deonna. She should also be on AEW television. Bring Britt Baker back. Put her with Deonna. Have them form a tag team. There is a lot that they can do. I'm just not seeing that right now. And yeah, sure, you could give us some throwaway matches, but I want to see more depth to this division. And that includes really good storytelling outside of Tony and Mercedes Moné. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that things change. And I think the only thing we can do is keep being vocal. And listen, it's not that I'm trying to piss people off on social media. I express myself because I want to be heard. I want things to get better. So when you come at me and you say, oh, well, there were 3 women's matches and it's fine and you're overreaching, it's kind of like you're telling me to keep my mouth shut and that what I'm saying isn't pertinent. And that's not right, man. I mean, you know, men get a lot more time. They get a lot more stories. I'm just asking for more in the women's division. I don't expect it to be 50-50 because I know that's never going to happen in the United States. But I do expect better than we're getting now. And I think that I'm being really fair. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. And like, so please, when we express ourselves, don't shut us down.
100%. Guys, do not lecture women about wrestling, okay? Women's wrestling matters, and women's wrestling fans matter. If you are an AEW hardcore fan that wants that product to grow, it's going to grow by embracing women, okay? AEW has correctly recognized that they have a unique opportunity right now in so many ways. As WWE has become more megafied, AEW has done a great job. Like, they're doing Pride Month. You know, a lot of companies aren't this year. They're doing Pride Month. They had Tony standing in front of the trans flag. This is the next step, and it should be on an equivalent plane to all the other steps. Okay? We've been talking about this for too long. We don't criticize to invalidate AEW. Okay? We criticize to make it better. And that's just the way fandoms should work. That said, Joshi, I'm so happy you're back.
Thank you. I'm happy to be back.
Doing this with you is my favorite thing. Thank you. Thank you.
Same
Thank
here.
you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
With that said, please go to sickosclub.com. Check out The Hard Way with Brett Michelle. Subscribe to that podcast. Make sure you're subscribed to this podcast in your feed. Please tell your friends. Guys, we don't do the SEO baiting bullshit, okay? We're not like writing stuff just to get clicks. So we have to rely on you to get the word out. I'm not saying anybody's done anything wrong. We just appreciate it when you make a little extra time to share. Thank you so much. We got merch in the store. Please go to sickos.com/merch and check it out, buy it, whatever. And with all that said, we love you. I'm Blade Daly.
I'm Joshi G.
Pro wrestling forever.
Sickos.
Sickos Club.